So a lot of you guys have recently found out that before becoming YouTube viral internet sensations, like we for sure are currently, we actually started out as a homebrew supply store, meaning we gave people things to make beer, and they asked us how the beer would taste, and we would say, it tastes good, or you could probably improve on this, or this, or this.
A lot of it came down to troubleshooting, but also some people just brought in beer to say, hey, I think this is pretty good. Can I get your guys' approval?
And we think that's super awesome. We want to get back into that roots of forming a community around, beer being a project, especially on the homebrew scale. Beer being something that you want to share, and you want to get either advice or praise or approval or suggestions from other people, which is why we're starting the hashtag genusratemybeer. Loading.
This is a new project coming to you from us, and we want you to join this community with us. We want you to send us some beers to drink so that we can rate them.
To do so, just look at the description below. We will post our address. You can also just look up the business. Our address is on Google and our Facebook page and all that. So if you want to send us a beer, your beer might end up in a video, which would be super awesome. But if you can't send us a beer or just don't want to because your beer is precious, we totally understand. Don't worry. But if you want to just have us involved in the conversation and ask us what we think, like a lot of you already have, you can go ahead and use an Instagram to take a picture of your beer or your project or just the idea you have, and say hashtag genusratemybeer somewhere in the whatever you do on Instagrams, and then go ahead and tag us in the picture as well so we make sure to get it, and we will share it to either our story or our main page.
So if you send us a beer, that tasting will probably look something like this. Bam. I don't know where this beer came from. This must have been sent in by a special customer, right, Peter?
Well, it smells super delicious, and it's obviously one of the best beers that I've ever seen in my life, just looking at it aesthetically. So it must be from someone super special.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Wait a second. This beer tastes awfully familiar. It's lemony, almost like a lemon bar milkshake IPA that we have.
This is a lemon bar milkshake IPA, courtesy of we'll call him Timothy.
It's a beer we have on tap.
And so this is just to give you an example of what a beer tasting is going to look like. I think honestly this beer is super great.
Yeah, I think overall it's a solid beer. It's exactly what an IPA should be. It's got a really, really strong lemon note, which makes me want to drink it more in summer than in February, which is where we're at now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But otherwise, yeah, got those big hoppy aromatics, got kind of a pithy bite to it.
And got the sweetness because it is a lemon bar milkshake IPA, meaning it's milkshake, meaning it's just fermented with lactose and whatever fruit. But I think all those flavors kind of play really well, and this is a phenomenal overall beer.
Yeah.
But if we had to improve upon this, which is why a lot of you guys would send us your beer, what would we do?
You know, there's one flavor that does jump out at me, which is a little bit of sort of a vegetal grassiness, which I think probably just came from the hops. I don't know what he did with the hops, but it was probably a little bit too long on something like a hop stand and maybe a little bit of oxidization along the process. So I would say a little less time on the hops, get away with that greenness, and maybe even up the sweetness just a little bit more. I think that'll balance it out, especially with that lemon pithiness.
Yeah, things to fake that sweetness could be something like upping the lactose a little bit, or even just adding a touch more of vanilla, which can kind of give you the perception of sweetness a little bit more. And I actually know how this beer is made, and I know something that we did adjust going into the second batch, and that was doing basically some engineering with the hopping style, making ourselves more like the big boys and doing a full-on hop back in the whirlpool. So what that means is instead of running all the beer from the whirlpool directly into the fermenter and getting some of that green material to push through to the fermenter and ferment on that, we actually used our Anvil Foundry as a hop back, and we whirlpooled through the Anvil Foundry, which both took out some proteins, and then made sure that the beer got fully infused with all those hop flavors while acting as a filter and dropping out some of that green material. And the next batch of this is almost ready to go. I think it's about ready to be brighted tomorrow, and it's already tasting a lot less of that plant matter greenness.
Overall, I'd probably give this beer a score of a solid 7. Probably not quite an 8 out of 10, but I think based on what Peter said, this next batch might be a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, so super solid, big flavors. This beer is a great beer. If any homebrewer made this, they should be proud. We're proud of it, obviously, on our scale too, but we always know that there's ways to improve, and so that's why we leave that room.
All right, well, if you want to follow this hashtag, you know what to do. Otherwise...
One more time, Genus, hashtag hashtag genusratemybeer, and then also tag us in the picture on Instagram. We really want to get this community going. So let us know what you think of this idea in the comments below. And we'll close this out with a cheers.
Ka-tink.
And a solid salute. And then we'll point at Ryan.
Oh, we're filming in the closet, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I just touched Ryan.
And Ryan's touching the wall.
He's right there.
It's a very small.
Yep.
Yeah. If
Anyway.
you want to see the closet, speaking of Genus, hashtag rate my stuffs, pictures and Instagrams.
Bye, everyone.